Alright, so what is your name?
Matthew Brey.
Alright. I'm going to ask you some questions about stereotypes, stereotype threats, affirmative action, all that stuff. So the first question is, do you initially judge someone before you meet them?
Yes.
Such as?
What do you mean, such as?
Like, based on what? Based on their looks, based on their
what they
color.
wear, how they act, how they talk, all that kind of stuff.
So nothing with color?
What?
Nothing with color?
I don't really care about that.
Do you have a stereotype which applies to you?
Probably.
Could you give me an example?
Like what? A stereotype that people would think about me?
Yes. That applies. That is true.
I don't know.
Okay.
I just probably know.
Do you have any first-hand experience of someone stereotyping you?
Yeah, Miss Langford called me a school shooter once.
Do you?
No, you gotta repeat it.
This is rolling. Are there situations where stereotyping is a good thing?
I don't know, maybe.
Is it a bad thing for people to live out stereotypes if it's positive or negative?
What?
Is it a bad thing for people to live out stereotypes if it's positive or negative?
Stereotypes? Like they're trying to...
No, like they're not intentionally doing it, but they live it out anyways. So they're just feeding to the cause. They're feeding the fire, fueling the flame.
I don't think it really matters. That's just how people act.
Are certain stereotypes more accurate than others? Like, let's say, sports stereotypes are more accurate than academic stereotypes. So, like saying that, let's say, an Asian person is good at math and a black person can run, which is more accurate?
I don't really know which I could call more accurate because it all comes down to how that person was raised. Like, if an Asian family is very strict, they're going to make their kid have good grades, or if someone is black, they have parents who want them to be really good at sports, they're going to be better at sports than other people.
Are there more racist areas depending on where you are?
What?
Racist areas.
Racist areas depending on who you are?
Where you are. Is one area more racist than another?
Yes, obviously. The South is definitely more racist than California.
Which race has the most stereotypes which apply to them?
Probably black people.
Does the music you listen to describe who you are?
Yes, definitely.
Such as?
If you listen to certain music, it could say like how you're feeling that day, or like if your favorite genre is this, you probably act this way.
So you wouldn't necessarily think that a white man prefers rap over like 80s rock?
I mean, in my head, whenever I think of a white person, I think of someone who definitely listens to like 80s rock or something like that, or country, but that doesn't mean that they can't listen to other music.
Do you know what affirmative action is?
Isn't it that college thing where minorities get in first or whatever?
Kind of. Is affirmative action fair?
No.
Alright, thank you for your time. Hello, what is your name?
Maddie.
Okay. We'll be interviewing you about racism and stereotypes, affirmative action, and all that stuff. Alright?
Okay.
Your first question is, do you initially judge someone before you meet them?
I try not to, but everybody does.
What would you say you judge them most by?
Their hair.
Ooh. Okay. Do you have a stereotype which applies to you?
I'm a lesbian and I have short hair, so I'm also, I wouldn't say I'm more masculine, but I'm not very feminine either.
Would you say that it's more positive or negative?
I guess it's kind of negative, but it doesn't really affect me.
Do you believe that there are positive stereotypes?
No. Well, no.
Do you have any first-hand experience of someone stereotyping you?
Yeah, in middle school when I cut my hair, everybody thought I was a lesbian, but I wasn't. I didn't come out yet, so I was like, "No, guys, I'm straight." And then 3 years later, I came out. But I've never had any like negative stereotypes like that. But I was bullied, if that counts.
So would you say you live out the general stereotypes of your gender, sexual orientation, or race?
Kind of, yeah.
Could you give me some examples as to how? Besides the hair and the masculinity?
I clean a lot more than my brothers at home. I wash the dishes and they don't. I sweep and mop the floors and they don't. I dust around and they don't. So I guess I have more of the household cleaning job. But that's about all.
Are there situations where stereotyping could be a good thing?
No, I don't think so.
So you don't believe that there's any good about stereotypes at all?
No, I don't think so.
So do you know what affirmative action is?
It sounds familiar, but I don't really know.
All right. What is the worst stereotype that you fall into?
That I can't cook.
That's a stereotype?
For lesbians, yeah.
Does the music you listen to tell who you are? So if someone were to go through your playlist, would they be able to tell that you're a white lesbian teenager? Or
No.
young adult? No? So do you think that you can base someone off of music? Off of
No.
the music they listen to? Why not?
Because why would you base somebody off of a harmless thing that they like? That makes no sense.
Because most people listen to music that describes them. So you would say that music describes the person.
Yeah, but what if you listen to all kinds of music? Like me.
Which race has the most stereotypes that apply to them?
That applies to them?
Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't be able to answer that.
Do you think sport stereotypes are more accurate than academic stereotypes?
Sports stereotypes?
Such as saying a black man can't swim, or a black man is fast, or a white man is better in science, or an Asian man is better in math. Which is more accurate?
Neither.
Neither?
Neither. They're both inaccurate.
Okay, thank you.
Stereotypes come from.
Alright, so what's your name?
Morgan.
Alright. We're going to be interviewing you about racism, stereotypes, prejudice, all that. The first question is, do you initially judge someone before you meet them?
Have I seen them?
You meet them for the first time, you see them, do you judge them?
I mean, I think it's a human instinct too.
What do you judge them by?
I don't think it's necessarily judging them, but you can gain intel by what they're wearing and how they're portraying themselves.
Okay. Do you have a stereotype which applies to you?
I'm sure I do.
Could you name some?
I don't know.
All right.
Everyone that looks at me thinks I'm a privileged white female.
So would you say it's a positive or negative stereotype?
Negative.
Do you believe that there are positive stereotypes?
Yeah, I just think the word stereotype has a negative connotation to it.
Do you have any first-hand experiences of someone stereotyping you?
Attention to the terminal paging for
Not that I
Berkeley
can think
Myers.
of.
Berkeley Myers, please make your immediate way to
Do you live out any stereotypes of your gender or your race?
Service to Nashville. Once again, paging for Berkeley
I'm sure I do.
Myers, please make your immediate way to gate number 14. Your flight has boarded.
Um,
Number 3501.
Is it a bad thing for people to live out stereotypes?
I mean, if they're bad stereotypes, then probably.
Do you know what affirmative action is?
No.
Okay.
Educate me.
I can't do that.
Okay.
What is the worst stereotype in which you might fall into?
I don't know. White privilege? I don't know. Probably.
Does the music you listen to tell who you are?
Oh, 100%.
So if someone were to look at one of your playlists on Spotify or Apple Music, they could tell who you are and what you act like?
Yeah. 100%.
Do you think sports stereotypes or academic stereotypes are more accurate?
Academic. I feel like sports stereotypes, like people just think of you like as a jock, but you can be a scholar athlete also.
Which race has the most stereotypes which apply to them?
I don't know. Probably African Americans. I don't know.
Which are the most racist areas you've been to?
I don't know. I've said no, I don't know to like every question, I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I mean, racism is everywhere.
Are there more racist areas than others?
I mean, yeah, I'm sure.
So have you been to a more racist area than another?
Well, I mean, like, I'm sure LA is more racist than Beaumont, and I've been to LA, but I wouldn't, like, consider it. No.
Okay. Are stereotypes beginning to change?
I mean, no, I don't think so. I think we've always had stereotypes and probably always will.
All right, thank you. So, what's your name?
Matt Brey.
We'll be asking you some questions about stereotypes and racism and stuff like that. So the first question is, do you initially judge someone before you meet them?
Yes.
How so?
Oh, before I meet him, no. Initially, when I meet him, yes.
What do you judge them by?
Their mannerisms.
Do you have a stereotype which you apply to?
No.
Do you believe that there can be positive stereotypes?
Yes.
How so?
Well, everybody's lumped into categories, no matter if you admit it or not. People judge other people and place them into categories right away, so positive and negative. You meet somebody and you think they're a good person, or they're a bad person, or something like that. So there's good stereotypes. You meet somebody and you think, oh, this is a good person because they love dogs or something.
Do you have any first-hand experience of someone stereotyping you?
Oh, yes.
Could you give an example?
Sure. because I'm direct and to the point, and say what's on my mind. A lot of times people think that that's a German trait or something like that, and so yeah, that happens quite often.
Do you live out any of the general stereotypes of your gender or race?
I don't think so.
Are there situations where stereotyping is a good thing?
Yeah, probably, I would say, yeah.
Do you know what affirmative action is?
Yes.
Is affirmative action fair?
No.
Should affirmative action be based on how someone grew up instead of their race and gender?
Absolutely.
Why?
Because I'm obviously a white male, and I have no benefit from, I've never benefited from affirmative action, actually quite the opposite. But I grew up in the worst neighborhood of Beaumont. So yeah, that's why I think it's bad. It's a horrible program.
Could you tell who a person is by the music they listen to?
No.
So you don't think if you were to search some random person's playlist on Spotify or Pandora, you couldn't tell?
Oh, and because they listen
Kind
to
of like
country music, you think they're a redneck or something?
Kind of like that.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, well, that's all we need. Thank you.